You are listening to the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast, where each week we have a conversation with everyday martial arts practitioners. From the first motivation to train, martial arts enriches our lives and becomes a lifestyle. Welcome to the individual stories of those martial artists living that lifestyle. You are listening to the abbreviated version. For those of you checking this out on YouTube, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Full-length versions of this podcast can be subscribed to at our Patreon page, is www.patreon.com/malmag. Or individual full-length episodes can be purchased at our Gumroad page at malmag.gumroad.com. Before we begin this week's program, I would like to remind you to check out martialartslifestylemagazine.com to see articles on the martial arts. Click on the Store tab to find products for the practice of Southeast Asian martial arts, featuring Timmy B's brand sticks. Check out the Courses tab, currently featuring a course on the Dos Manos method of the Filipino martial arts. Also check out our Places to Train page, featuring top quality martial art academies from around the world. And of course, check out our events page for seminars and events coming up around the world. To see your school listed in our Places to Train page or your event on our events calendar, contact us at malmagonline@gmail.com. This week, I get on Zoom and I connect to Denver, Colorado, and I talk to my good friend Raul Delay. We talk about how he got involved in martial arts, how working security taught him that he needed to learn some martial arts, how dealing with a very physical security issue while being a security guard led him to his martial arts instructor, who just happened to be the hot dog vendor, how he created SIN Martial Arts, his school in Denver, and much more. Sit back and enjoy. Welcome to the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast, and today I'm connecting to Colorado, which our guest has told me is having a snow drought, which is an interesting thing. And this gentleman is someone that I've known online in this really interesting new world of meeting people and talking to people and actually having friends, as I've done for long periods of time, people that you've not actually met face-to-face with, but you have great, conversations and exchanges with, and you feel, like kindred spirits and stuff. And this gentleman is one of those people, and he's actually a person who's went and bought a bunch of custom sticks, or Timmy B sticks. Actually, you got Timmy B sticks. So he's someone that I've supplied with some supplies. Anyway, Raul Delay, thank you for coming on the show. Welcome to the show.
Yo, Tim, thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Absolutely. Well, I and you got a little Star Wars cap going on here, right? The Rebellion.
My friend, there's only two things that I know a little bit about martial arts and things that nerds like.
Okay.
Star Wars, comic books, Marvel, DC, superheroes, misspent youth, well-spent adulthood.
Yeah. You know what's funny about martial arts is it's that great intersection of taking nerd people,
yes,
and a very physical thing and putting them together.
Yeah.
And I had the funniest experience once. There's a comic book store out here in Hollywood, and we got connected to a Australian, I think he is, director guy who does a bunch of projects, and he was doing something involved in a comic book or whatever, and there was a launch going on. This guy's friends with Nino Pila, if you're familiar with who he is. Long time Inosanto instructor, very high up guy. He is stuntman and stuff in Australia and does some work here as well. And so Digger is this guy's name. Digger asked Nino, do you have a couple guys? We're doing this comic book launch, to run some security. So he asked Atticus Todd, who has a background in security and is a larger than life figure, actually. So although like Minnesota Collie Group know this guy is, he's also been instructor at the academy for a long time. A very dear friend of mine, and he's like almost my height. So he's like 6'3". I'm almost 6'4", and he was, at the time I met him, about 375 pounds, and he got as big as like 4, and he looked like a big sumo. This guy was also a Thai boxing instructor. So you don't get fooled by this big dude. Oh, big fat dude. Yeah, he's cutting you off the ring, kicking you. And this is the guy who taught me. Oh yeah, he was a collegiate wrestler. So this is the guy who taught me all of my like Greco stand up and clinch when he was 400 pounds. So that's the kind of guy, size of guy I'm used to moving, right?
Yeah.
And he's since slimmed down to my size. So he's about 270 or 260 now. So he's still a giant guy. But anyway, that's who Nino thinks of. And I'm like, right. And then he asked me, and I'm like, Nino, I've never done security. I said, what do you need me to do? And he goes, well, they just need people not to come into this back way because there's like a parking lot where the thing was going on. I think they pulled a food truck up there. I'm like, okay. And he goes, this will be easy. They're comic book nerds. They're type B. I'm like, right. Okay, I got it. It's not going to be anybody who's going to really fight. It's just going to be some, guys that you're just going to have to say, hey, go around the front. And they'll probably go, yeah, okay. So Atticus is at the front door. I'm in the back keeping people, which is not even happening. It's the easiest gig ever. I'm just kind of standing there. All of a sudden, this very giant man comes walking in, and I'm looking at him, and I go, Josh Barnett, what are you doing here? And he goes, of course, the only two guys that recognize me is the two security guys. And I said, well, yeah. I said, hey, we're we're friends with Eric Paulson, and and go. And so I have this great conversation with him. And I'm like, are you a comic book nerd? And he goes, absolutely. And I'm like, well, there you go. So that is the coolest thing about martial arts. Like I said, you're going to get this intersection of this great.
Brother, it is one of those places where, like, a lot of martial artists, we liked sports, but didn't like the team and the other environment.
Coaching. We didn't like the coaching dynamic is I think what it was.
Brother, there's a lot into it. There's a lot of right reasons why martial artists, why we don't really do the team stuff, but gravitate toward this. And a huge chunk of us are just book imagination nerds. Man, we have
Yeah.
wanted to learn to fight with the stick since the first Star Wars movie we saw.
Right. I mean, and we like team dynamic because I mean, all your training is about teamwork. It's about working together. And I've, you're 100% correct. So I tried baseball first. I liked it, but what I saw was nepotism. I saw the coach's son got the pitch. I saw the coach's kids got all the celebration, and there were other kids on the team that were just as good at different things, but they got regulated to whatever. So I'm like, ah. Then I tried basketball. Basketball was actually okay. The coach was really good. Our team was terrible. But that wasn't something I was overly worried about. And the coach was really good. He threw a big pizza party for us at the end and everything. It was just a sport, like sport wise, was not my favorite to do. And I could see that this was something other kids are very serious about, and they were going to get good at it. And I was like, I don't care about it.
Brother.
And
And
then I did football, and
oh, how was that?
football, I now that was the opposite. Loved the fucking game. Couldn't stand the coaching style. Like you're in here insulting me. You're insult my mother or whatever. And it's like, well, you're motivating me, but not to do what you want. And the hazing shit. And we were an undefeated team. So I had the exact opposite. Like I said from basketball, we were an undefeated team football wise, unscored on defensively, and that's what I played
Ooh,
was defense. And we had a really good defensive squad. And when I've got the hot shot linebacker on the team calling me a loser, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm just as much a part of this damn team as you. I am absolutely part of the team that kept any other team from scoring on us. I've made tackles, I've made plays, I've sacked quarterbacks. You just don't like me. Okay, and then I discovered martial arts after that, and then I didn't do anything else. That was what I
hey, brother.
did.
So I grew up with a sports dad, and so it was funny. I got lucky because he wasn't a crazy sports dad. He was a supportive sports dad, and the teams that I was on as a little kid, they had good energy as far as everybody gets to play. This is fun, and I really liked basketball, and I really liked playing baseball. And then we got just a touch older, and then everything you said came into play. Uh,
Right.
Hyper competition, nepotism, whose dad coaches the team decides whether or not you get to play your favorite position that you're really good at, and whether you get to be the leadoff hitter anymore because you're really good and you like this. And then all of a sudden, it became a horrible experience. And
Right.
in basketball, I hit high school and didn't grow really past the sixth grade. I just basketball just outgrew me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was tall. That's why everybody kept, well, why don't you play basketball? Because I don't like it.
The last the last sport that I did well with, identified with, was wrestling. Weight
Okay,
classes,
right,
and it did not matter that I was tiny. I was tiny but ripped.
right, right,
I'll
right.
destroy another 80-pound child.
Yeah, yeah,
That was,
exactly.
but then after that, man, real life, and our age too. The sports has changed a ton. And my generation is where it started to all this year round. If you're good at something, you don't play other sports. You didn't play for your school and do year rounded stuff anymore. You did this a bunch until your arm really hurts, or until you
Oh
blew
yeah, yeah,
a knee or an ankle, because you do the camps and then the traveling. I mean, like kids semi-pro teams. I don't even know how else to describe the culture now.
right.
What sports has turned into, and expensive, brother. As we
Oh
got
yeah,
started priced out of. Thank God for martial arts, athletic, teamwork, and healthy environments. It is, if you're, what I found is, uh, the more sport oriented the martial art is. So boxing, even some of the Muay Thai schools that we have out here, uh, less healthy, more competitive, hit each other, not as community based. The rise of MMA has helped with this
right.
type environments. But one of the best things, the Inosanto family, that I found with the Inosanto family, is the traditional martial arts. We get these healthy environments and respect and these really positive team building. And there's 10 of us in class, and 9 of us are working on making this person better. But so there's always 9
Yeah,
people working on one person, because nobody's selfish and everybody's helping each other. Um, Inosanto lineage is where that kind of healthy, positive environment, traditional stuff, met, stuff that actually would work and was very functional. And I grew up in a very working class, a little bit of a rough neighborhood, and there was not a lot of respect for gis or belts or things
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
It was more could you run fast, or could you not get beat up? Those were things that were worthy of respect.
Hey, now, did you grow up there in Colorado, or did you grow up somewhere else?
Yes, yes, sir. I
Okay.
am born and raised Denver boy.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, our family roots to this area go back, 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 way, way, way back. Like my family has never really left the Southwest, except for obviously the European influences and marriage and blood in our families. But we
Wow. Okay.
have been from here to southern Texas, kind of along
Okay.
the route the old traditional route that one of the first big Spanish expeditions and the native support, which was about 3 times the size of the Spanish, went to New Mexico, and the settlement there. So kind of up along that path is my family tree.
Oh
And
wow.
identify most with, like, we're Chicanos, but we're Apache descendants. So I'm a lot of things,
Oh wow.
French
Okay.
back,
Cool.
but yeah, we're we we take great pride that we are from here, we are still here, we are not going anywhere.
That's cool. I mean, I think that's great that you got, such a knowledge of your family history going back, you know, so
Brother,
far.
yes and no. It's crazy. So we know our family, like who we are, but sadly, we only know the Spanish half well, because it was
Right.
documented and it wasn't.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, tribal cultures went about things differently, and even, it's, well, we get into this all the time now, with the politics and stuff, and the idea of history and the way it's told now, and we get into it with martial art, and people arguing about whether things are mythology or real, and religion's actually a great example of it, where you're
Yes,
coming out
one
of
man's
cultures.
mythology is another man's
Yeah,
religion. Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, you're coming out of cultures that did not tell history in ways of here's the exact people who did this exact thing at this exact time.
With
That's
this
just
date.
not, yeah,
No.
yeah. It's not how that stuff was told. And we get that from a more Roman British in particular legal system, and that's that our country is based on that, and that's why Britain probably being the primary colonizer of the world and people and mostly finance mercantile group. So where the money went, the people followed as
Yeah.
far as systems, right? So
Yes, sir.
that's what we're doing. And now if you're going to take that and you're going to look back and go, oh well, this group was telling exact names and dates in that because you're applying your value system to it, like you're just wrong. That's incorrect. And the archaeology doesn't support it, neither does
And
the
that's one of the few.
documentation.
Amen. And that's one of the few nice things about the era we live in. There's a lot of
Yeah.
pros and cons we don't need to get into. One of the nice things about the era that we live in is the archaeology and the science
Oh
is
yeah, yeah.
improving. And what we know in a lot of our foundational misteachings, stereotypes, just lies are being debunked. And for a people who are interested in that information, or for the younger generations who are just simply being taught something different, it is allowing for more accurate views of history and other peoples, and hopefully respect for people's values, cultures, and contributions to how humans evolved,
Right.
because all the cultures contributed, despite, kind of like we were talking about with the baseball team, despite where attention is spotlighted and poured, we everybody's contributing in a very major way, and some people's more major than they've ever gotten credit for.
Right. Well, and what I'm hoping is we're seeing, I think what we do as our primary hobby and lifestyle
Mhm.
is one of those things that helps cut through all that because there's this great resurgence thanks to Guru Dan and his encouragement of people
Yes.
looking into their own ethnic martial art or national martial arts, and you're seeing all kinds of interesting stuff. I mean, from things that still exist and were obscure to essentially the reconstruction of particular things that cause people to go poo-poo it. But I'm like, well, why not? Why not rebuild things as best as you can?
Brother, amen. I have sought out, and it's incredibly difficult to find, um, First Nations or Native American martial arts. And it's funny what I have been able to find and look at looks and feels a lot like Kali. I
Well, sure, yeah,
and so people, some of it is fundamental. This is how we use a weapon. It's going to look some similarities from culture to culture. Also, a lot of it
right,
is the Guro influence. And as they try to reconstruct and figure out what to look at, looking at Guro and looking at the Filipino influence in what is now Mexico and Mexico City, and the super old Filipino communities there, uh,
yeah,
they have been influencing each other since the Spanish started transporting us back and forth for misbehaving. Um,
right,
so uh, I really, really, one of the things that I always enjoyed about the Filipino martial arts and learning them is I felt this kinship and this cousin martial art relationship to things that I felt like would have been systems and ways of movement and similarities to how martial arts would have been practiced, particularly further south in the Americas, because
yeah, yeah,
the closer you get to the equator and the warmer it is, we're talking about all the same environmental influences that we have in the Philippines, as far as why we wear less metal, why we focus more on movement rather than sheathing ourselves in metal armor, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I just
right,
really, really, it's just another reason I've always really loved Guro Inosanto and the Filipino martial arts.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and if we look at the things that exist that we know, like Silat and Filipino martial arts, and you see that it's reflected in dance culture. So that's almost where you want to go to begin and extract right from any other culture. If there's dance, we could probably find elements there. And then how do we extract from there? Like even think of you've got a very infamous Russian dance, where they get real low and their thumb
Yes.
kicks out. And that's not even Russian. It's part of like Russian community in general, but it's Cossack. So
Cossack, yes.
it's a Cossack thing, and that is a martial art. They've got combative arts. Now they've got the dance, but they've kind of lost what is this thing. And you're like, man, what are the conditions that you're going to get low and kick someone in the shins like that? And which is kind of cool. But
And the leg strength. I
yeah, yeah, yeah,
anything about Cossacks martial arts, but I am familiar with the Cossacks from history.
right.
Whatever they were doing, they were fairly successpable.
Yeah, they just picked the wrong team all the time. They were terrible
Well,
at picking the team.
that happens, brother. That happens.
Yeah,
You pick with your heart. You
yeah.
set your head. You end up on the wrong side.
But amazing. I mean, they're very striking. Like when I was teaching in Kazakhstan, I had two students I knew that were Cossack ethnicity,
Mm.
and both females, and they're just striking. They have like these real piercing blue eyes, and then they have high cheekbones, and actually very very pale skin, but kind of dark hair. And like these are very very interesting like people as far as their look. And then the culture is pretty rich too.
Yeah.
And they're usually a little bit, like the two I know, are a little bit shy about it. I mean, they're not shy to say that they're that, but they're a little bit shy about talking culturally about it a little bit. But when you kind of either disrespect it or you push it a particular way, they'll kind of remind you like, hey, this is this, we're a separate culture and blah blah blah. And it's really kind of, I don't know, it's pretty interesting group that certainly, I mean, Guru's got some mad respect for it. He brings it up every once in a while. And what's funny is I've got these two kids here that I call them my kids. We're not biological, but they sort of adopted me like a dad, and their mother is from Moscow. Now I don't think they have any Cossack in them, but man, they love that sword twirl. So they're
Oh,
both like just constantly spinning their stick that way. And I'm like, good for you guys.
e- everything that helps you connect to cultural things that you like, I love. You
Yeah.
know. Oh, but I gotta say also, you run and give me a little bit of history and insight into the Cossack stuff. Good Lord, I've never been to Europe, but it sounds just like the way that history and my family have described the Basque.
Oh
They
yeah.
they're pretty cool, but they're like, whoa, 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 don't call it Spanish. Whoa, no, no, no,
Yeah,
don't.
yeah, yeah.
They can get they're pretty cool, and then they get a little chippy. Like
Yeah.
you said, if you disrespect or you bring it up in a certain way, they're clear
Yeah.
that we're a distinct cultural group.
Yeah.
They set off bombs every once in a while. Make sure everybody remembers.
Yeah. 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 And that's interesting because Guru talks about them too. And then he'll
There's
describe them. He's going, they're big and they have this square face. And I kind of chuckle and I go to my Facebook and I pull up a picture of a friend of mine from college who's a very good friend who is Basque, part Basque, from his father. So dad is Cuban, mom is Spanish, and the Basque comes from dad's side.
Mhm.
And I show a picture of this guy, and Guru goes, "Oh yeah, that dude is Basque." And I'm like, "Yep." I mean, that's 100%, 100%. But he's Cuban Spanish.
Yeah.
But the dad's name is Basque. Now, to those of us who are just listening to a name, it sounds Spanish, but it's not. And the name actually means like a dagger or a sword of some sort. It was like an actual weapon.
Ah.
And he said when he was a kid, because I want to say maybe a year or two older than me. So he's mid 50s and probably like 57. And so when he was little, Franco was still in charge of Spain.
Oh, yes.
And he said he remembered being a little kid. And when mom would go ahead to family and him and his dad would travel in, they would get put aside at the airport real quick because of the last name and checked out. And they're like, "Oh, you're Cuban," to the dad. And he goes, "Yeah." And they go, "Oh, okay." And they let him go. It's just a family, so many generations back on the dad's side was Basque. And that, kind of loans to Drew talking about Basques in the Philippines. Like, yeah, of course, the Spanish were using all those people everywhere
Mhm.
in that empire. So, yeah, you're going to have Basques in Cuba and Dominican Republic and probably all kinds of places as well as the Philippines.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Uh, one of the things that I always remember girl talking about is Basque style savate.
Yeah. Yeah.
how theirs was very, very different and more well-rounded than a lot of the city, even the deadly, like the blade on the toe, the very vicious inner city, poor neighborhood Savate, that the
Yeah.
Bass Savate was like a combat system.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Well, let's talk about how where did you start martial art? And what was it and how and all that good stuff.
Just a young knucklehead.
Now you're an old knucklehead.
Exactly right. And just fast forward. So we're just gonna roll a few decades back and see how much
That's
of this I
right.
can remember, brother. So young knucklehead, got to get a job, got to do something. I am tiny but feisty. Had been a high school wrestler. I am working retail for a year. It is the worst job. Worked retail, and
God.
this is back in the 90s, the late 90s. So the world is a bit different as far as qualifications and training and uh standards. And I'm working for a major retailer, and
Hmm.
it's in a poor neighborhood, and we constantly have shoplifting and harassment and just general confrontations and fights in our store all the time. And
Wow.
so we are the young men constantly helping security to do stuff, control situations, calm stuff down, separate stuff up. And I really liked it. And of course, we're working for a major retailer, so we don't make any money. Security makes like twice what we make and all this stuff. And so they're like, "Hey, you want to do some more?" Hell yeah! What are your qualifications? I used to, slam people down who weighed the same as me. They're like, "Perfect."
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And now I am a slightly better paid, completely untrained. Here's your handcuffs. Here's your badge. Plainclothes security,
Wow. Wow.
brother. And so I did that for maybe half decade. Again, in a inner city, poor neighborhood Kmart. And so um, we,
Now I know you're old, man.
brother,
Kmart.
I'm like, I didn't
Wow.
want to say because now the whippersnapper is going to be like, what's a Kmart?
Yeah. Oh man, you
So,
haven't lived unless you've gone to a
oh,
blue light special, baby.
exactly, brother. I'm so old. That was literally, they had a rolling thing. It still
Yep.
exists.
Yeah.
Roll that
Yeah.
thing out to department, a little
Yeah.
blue light. That's where you
Yeah.
go for sales. So
Damn
anyway,
right.
the dinosaurs. We put our dinosaurs. We drive our dinosaurs to work. We get our dinosaurs. This is so this is what I'm doing. And high school wrestling was actually a fairly solid background now.
And this concludes the abbreviated version of the podcast. Please consider supporting the program by going to www.patreon.com/MALMAG and subscribing to the show. You can also purchase this individual episode or any individual episode at our Gumroad page. That's malmag.gumroad.com. Thank you for listening to this episode with Raul Delay. Coming up next week, I sit down in Los Angeles and I talk to a very interesting young man who is visiting from the United Kingdom, Roshan Baines. Our Malmag online store at martialartslifestylemagazine.com has a full selection of Timmy B's brand sticks for FMA and Krabiker Bong. Timmy B's brand now selling in Japan as well. Beautiful Timmy B's brand shirts and Dos Manos shirts are available. We also have sarongs, malongs, and wooden training knives. An online course in the Dos Manos method for FMA is available under the Courses tab. More courses coming soon. Check out the Places to Train tab to find schools near you, and click on the events calendar page to see what seminars and events are happening all around the world. And of course, visit our main page for articles on the martial arts. Music by Arthur J. Martial Arts Lifestyle Magazine and the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast are trademarked and copyrighted by TNT LLC.